What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flagrant Talk Sports Podcast. And today, I got my first solo video coming up for y'all. I'm going to be doing a second half MLB roundup video. We're going to jump around. We're going to cover wild card races. We're going to cover MVP races. We're going to cover Cy Young. It's going to be an exciting video. I'm excited to get this out for y'all. And again, my first solo video. So without further ado, let's jump right on into it, starting with the AL wildcard race. The division leaders in the AL, we got the Baltimore Orioles leading the AL East, being the first seed right now if the season was to end today. We next got the Minnesota Twins in the AL Central. They'd be the third seed if the season was to end today. And leading the AL West is going to be the Texas Rangers, who would be the 2 seed if the season was to end today. All three of these teams having unbelievable seasons, big showings from guys who weren't on the map before this year. Guys like Yenier Cano for the Baltimore Orioles, Adolis Garcia, upcoming MVP guy for the Texas Rangers, and they got a couple more MVP candidates on their roster. So new teams having success in the MLB. It's exciting to see as a fan. Obviously wish my squad was in contention right now for leading the AL East, but it's been a rough year for the Red Sox. So congrats to these 3 teams. Great 3 quarters of a season so far, and let's see if they can finish it out. But leading the AL wild card right now, the first spot is the Tampa Bay Rays, sitting at a solid 4.5 games above the rest of the pack. Big news, their ace, Shane McClanahan, is possibly done for the year with a forearm injury. This is a huge loss to the Rays as he was in contention for an AL Cy Young. He was having an amazing season, definitely the one in their rotation. So going to be a big hole to fill. Luckily, they're a very solid team. They got a lot of good players, but when one of your top guys goes down, it's very hard to rally around that. But we'll see what the Rays can do. The second spot in the AL is held by the Houston Astros, who are a game and a half above the third place team, who is the Toronto Blue Jays. So these 2 teams currently in the playoff picture right now, but we got some interesting schedules. A lot of these teams play each other to end the year. So we got about 6 to 7 series each team. It depends on each team, obviously, their schedule, but 6 or 7 series per each team approximately remaining. So it's going to be a bang end to this season for sure. Teams on the outside looking in, we got the Seattle Mariners, who are absolutely going bonkers at the time of this recording. They are on a 7-game win streak, and they're sitting at a game and a half back of the Toronto Blue Jays. So huge streak right now. They didn't really make any deadline moves. You know, they got rid of Paul Sewald. A lot of fans didn't like that, but they got Dominic Canzone, and I'm forgetting the second baseman's name from the Arizona Diamondbacks. I apologize, but 2 mediocre pickups for Mariners fans, but working out right now as they're cooking and looking to work their way into the playoffs. We'll now talk about the Boston Red Sox. They're on a little bit of a slide ever since the All-Star break. It's been a up and down season. For those of you who are Red Sox fans, this has been one of the most roller coaster seasons ever. There was big hope about Trevor Story's return the other night and that flipping the season around, and he went 0 for 4 with 3 swinging strikeouts. So, it's going to take time. Hasn't been in the league for about 2 good years. He's been dealing with injuries. So excited to see what he can do. Chris Sale is supposedly supposed to be coming back here in the next few weeks. John Schreiber, Garrett Whitlock. So reinforcements are on the way for the Red Sox. We'll see if they can make a push. I believe they can make a push. Non-biased. I think they got the stuff to get over the hump. But time will tell, man. Time will tell. Another team who has been plagued with injuries this year. There was a point in the season where their injured payroll was higher than 18 teams in the league's normal payrolls. Their injured payroll. And that team is going to be the New York Yankees. They are sitting at 5 games back of the final wild card spot. Aaron Judge returned, and he's looked great for them. He's hitting the ball hard, hitting a couple home runs. They've had an interesting season with their injuries and some of their storylines going on over there. Interesting things going on in the management for sure. If any of you have been paying attention to that, Anthony Rizzo playing with the head injury for a little while. Jose Trevino is playing with a wrist injury for a while. So they needed those guys to play through those injuries because they didn't really have a backup plan. They kind of stuck to their guys, and it ended up hurting them a little bit. But their guys are coming back, and they're a great ball club. So we'll see what they can do. The last team I want to touch on in the American League is going to be the Troutani Los Angeles Angels. They made a huge splash at the trade deadline after many people thought they were going to be sellers, myself included. But they came out, said they weren't going to trade Shohei, that they were going to look to build, and build they did. They picked up CJ Cron and Randall Grichuk from the Colorado Rockies. 2 huge pickups for them. They also added some pitching. They made a couple bullpen moves. So they were buyers at the deadline. It didn't go to show as they went on to lose the next 6 straight games after the deadline. And some of those games, they were actually holding leads in the 9th inning, and they just blew the game. Finally, now on a 2-game win streak at the time of this recording, and they sit 6.5 games back of the final wild card spot. They're going to need to get hot in a hurry. Not a lot of time left. They are way too talented. Probably have the 2 best players in the major leagues considerably. Mike Trout's kind of fallen off, but they are way too good, way too talented to not be in the playoffs. And as a fan, I want to see Ohtani in the playoffs because he's a player who can single-handedly win them a series. So I just want to see that. He deserves it. The league deserves it. We're excited to see where it goes. Jumping over to the National League, the division leaders lead as follow. The Atlanta Braves are leading the National League East and would be the first seed if the season ended today. The Milwaukee Brewers are leading the National League Central and are the 3rd seed if the season was to end today. And the LA Dodgers are the 2nd seed leading the National League West. The National League wildcard race is a tight race, a little bit tighter than the American League. We're going to start it off with the first spot. The Phillies, the Philadelphia Phillies, are on an unbelievable tear. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They're 3.5 games in first place of the first spot in the National League. And their recent all-star trade deadline pickup, Michael Lorenzen, who they picked up from the Detroit Tigers, threw a no-hitter last night. So, in his first start as a Philly at home. So, it seems to be that deal worked out for them. And they're on the come up. You know, they made the World Series last year after being the last team to make it in the wild card race. So anything can happen. The Phillies are an exciting team. Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, Trey Turner. They're good, man. So if they make it, they're dangerous. Sitting in the 2nd spot is the San Francisco Giants. They're on a mini slide, but they still hold the 2nd spot and are sitting comfortably at a 2.5 game lead of the 3rd spot. And the final spot in the National League goes to the Miami Marlins. They're the only team right now in playoff contention with a negative run differential. So run differential is obviously the amount of runs you give up versus the amount of runs scored against you. The runs you score versus the amount of runs scored against you. They're sitting at a minus 53. So quite a bit of runs, but they're squeezing out wins somehow. A team that is right on their coattails that is plus 66 in run differential. They're heating it up right now. It's the Chicago Cubs. Cody Bellinger with a revival of his career. Dansby Swanson, after dealing with a couple injuries, is heating up. They're a fun, exciting team. They got a couple Cy Young possible candidates. Stroman just went down with a little bit of injury. He was up there. Justin Steele has been pitching out of his mind. Cubs are exciting. Only a half game back, so watch out for them. Another team that's a half game back are the Cincinnati Reds. Would love to see them make the playoffs. Obviously, I don't think they have the talent yet to make a big run in the postseason, but just making the playoffs after years of tragedy in Cincinnati for Reds and their fans, just making the playoffs would absolutely shift the energy if it hasn't already shifted enough with Ellie De La Cruz and the young core that they got there. So exciting stuff coming out of the NL. The Arizona Diamondbacks are on an 8-game losing streak. I was going to record this video about a week ago, Bobby Shmurda, and they were actually leading the National League West at the time of that. So they are now 2.5 games back of that final spot. So a little bit of a slide, but they got a possible MVP and rookie Corbin Carroll. They got a good team over there. So Diamondbacks can make a splash. Now we get to two teams that have very, very underperformed so far this year. And that is going to be first the San Diego Padres. They stole Xander from us just to be in about the same place that we are. I can only think about, salivate, imagine what the Red Sox would look like right now with Xander Bogaerts on our team. So I need the Padres to turn it around because I can't see this much longer. They are way too good. Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, you name it. They got a team over there. They're 4.5 games back. They got to make it happen. There's some issues in the clubhouse. Manny Machado was seen yelling at a coach the other day. So temperatures are boiling over there in San Diego, and they got to get it figured out because they're running out of time. As for a team that has run out of time, the New York Mets. What a shame. Just bringing in Justin Verlander, bringing in Max Scherzer, bringing in all these guys, having one of the highest payrolls in the MLB just to be sellers at the trade deadline in their first season after that free agency. They traded closer David Robinson. They traded Max Scherzer. They traded Mark Canha. They traded Tommy Pham. They traded Justin Verlander. Mets basically in a rebuild now. It's very sad to see, very tragic for Mets fans. But maybe with all the prospects they got, all the things they returned after this fire sale, maybe the future is bright. But again, only time will tell. But jumping over now to the American League MVP leaders, I got 3 players for each of these awards that I am about to cover. First being AL MVP, and the leader by far, probably already has it on lock, is none other than Shohei Ohtani of the Los Angeles Angels. He has a 1.076 OPS on base plus slugging. Over 1,000 OPS is elite. Like, not often in history, especially nowadays, does that happen. So he's got the highest OPS in baseball right now. Only 2 other players have a OPS over 1,000 right now in the league. So just shows the type of season he's having. batting 306, tied for for the league leader in home runs with 40. Not even to mention he's leading in some pitching stats. Obviously, MVP is more of it's a position player. That's what the Cy Young's for. The Cy Young's for pitchers, but this is just something that we've never seen before. This season is we will never probably see anything like this again. Like this is just maybe this is the start of the future of the MLB. We see more two-way guys, but the fact that him and Babe Ruth are basically the only two that have been successful in history goes to show. So Ohtani is one of a kind and excited to see where the rest of his season goes. I made a prediction that he was going to break the home run record for the American League, but he's slowing down a little bit. I need him to pick it up. Second player in the American League MVP voting, and this guy came out of nowhere. They do polls every month or so on the MLB for MVPs and Cy Youngs and all that. This guy hasn't been on the list at all until this one. And I have been diving into some film on this guy. Kyle Tucker is keeping the Houston Astros afloat in a season of struggle for a lot of their guys. You know, the Astros have made the ALCS 5 or 6 of straight years in a row. You know, they won the World Series last year. They added to their roster in the offseason, picking up Jose Abreu, and normally sometimes teams fall apart after a championship. They just continued to add. So the Astros, in a kind of subpar season, you know, Kyle Tucker's keeping them up afloat, batting 296, and it's rising. He's been hitting better the last few weeks. 21 homers, 24 stolen bases, great defense every night in right field, robbing homers, you know, just this guy without the if he wasn't on the Astros, they'd be in trouble right now. So the last player I got for AL MVP, you could have picked 3 or 4 guys from this team. I went with Adolis Garcia of the Texas Rangers, El Bombe. This man is the AL leader in RBIs right now with 89. He has 29 homers. He is clutch, man. He has some clutch swings. No moment is too big for him. And he's a big reason. There's a lot of reasons for the Rangers' success, but he's a big reason for their success, and he is why he's my 3rd favorite for the AL MVP. Some other candidates that I wanted to include: Marcus Semien and Corey Seager, 2 of his teammates, the middle infield. They are both having unbelievable seasons. Corey Seager was out with injury for a while. He has close to 1,000 OPS, and he's not qualified, but he's close to being qualified. Could be a 4th player to that list of OPSs over 1,000. Just unbelievable season. Luis Robert Jr. of the Chicago White Sox. It's been a sad season in South Chicago for the White Sox. Lots of stuff going on. The fights the other night definitely didn't add to that. But Luis Robert Jr. is having an unbelievable season in this dark time. If he wasn't on the White Sox, he'd probably be getting a lot more attention and probably would be top MVP guy on a lot more lists. But it's understandable. Team success plays into it, unfortunately. So he's honorable mention. And the last one I got is going to be Yandy Diaz of the Tampa Bay Rays. Him and Wander Franco were my 2 possible picks, but they are just carrying that Rays squad. Randy Arozarena as well. But those are the guys I got for honorable mention. To jump over to the National League, my National League MVP favorite at the moment is going to be Ronald Acuna Jr. of the Atlanta Braves. This guy has got an OPS of 1,007, 3rd in the major leagues. He's batting 340. It's only rising. It's been a steady incline these last few weeks. 26 home runs, league-leading 53 stolen bases, unbelievable defense in the outfield with his speed. You name it, Acuna's got it. He's been the favorite throughout most of the season, and he's earned it. But a guy who is right on his tails, and like I just said, I believe Acuna is a favorite. A lot of people think Acuna has it locked down already. Freddie Freeman for the Los Angeles Dodgers has something to say about that. Old man Freddie's got an OPS of 1,000.018, second in the major leagues. He's batting .344 on the year, 23 homers, and is leading the league in doubles with 42. So these two guys have an unbelievable seasons for their squads, both of their teams, top of their divisions. They're on a crash course to see each other in the NLCS, the Braves and the Dodgers, and I hope it happens. Rematch of last year. They're building a little bit of a rivalry as the two top teams in the NL, and I love it because they got loaded squads. So the last guy I got, the third favorite in the in the NL MVP voting for me is Ronald Acuna's teammate, Matt Olson. This guy is leading the MLB in RBIs with 101. If you remember, I said Adolis Garcia was leading the AL with 89. So he's on a tear. Batting average is down a little bit. He's batting .266, but the power is there as he's tied with Shohei at 40 homers, league leading. He has a .979 OPS, the fourth highest right now for qualified hitters, and he plays stellar D every night at first base. So Matt Olson on a tear, Acuna on a tear. The Braves are just, I think they had 5 or 6 all-star starters. So if that's not enough to tell you what they got going on, I don't know what is. My honorable mentions for MVP, guys that are right there. Freddie Freeman's teammate, Mookie Betts, already at a career high in homers. So his power, his pop is at an all-time high. I missed 2018 MVP Mookie on the Red Sox, but I'm glad he's having success in LA. Juan Soto for the San Diego Padres. Again, I said they're having a down year. They need to pick it up. Juan Soto isn't really that issue. He's doing Juan Soto things, not striking out, walking a lot, hitting dingers, scaring pitchers with the shuffle. He's one of the faces of the league, and it shows each year. So, and the last guy, I gave a little love to him earlier, but rookie Corbin Carroll for the Arizona Diamondbacks just came on the scene out of nowhere, turning it up, was leading the Diamondbacks to the NL West division. They were leading it for a while, but this little losing streak, they had to turn it around. But great season for the Diamondbacks. No one saw this coming out of them. Jumping over to AL Cy Young leaders. The AL Cy Young is an award that I also believe is probably locked down, and I'm going to give it to Garrett Cole of the New York Yankees. He has been a workhorse this year for them. 10-3 record, 2.75 ERA, fourth in the major leagues, 160 strikeouts, and he's tied for first with Logan Webb, 17 quality starts. A quality start is when a pitcher goes at least 6 innings, gives up at least 3 or less runs. Garrett Cole is the definition of quality this year, definition of workhorse, probably the definition of AL Cy Young. Guy that is challenging him, though, is going to be Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros. 9-7 record for Framber. His ERA has skyrocketed a little bit his last few starts. He's gone up to 3.30, 144 strikeouts, 14 quality starts, and he threw a no-no last week. No-hitter. So another thing to add to this year's resume. Probably boost the Cy Young voting a little bit, but one good outing probably won't beat Garrett Cole's 10-3 record. But great year for Framber, to say the least. Kevin Gausman is going to be my third and final AL Cy Young leader out of the Toronto Blue Jays. 9-6 record for Gausman, 3.04 ERA, fifth in the majors, 183 Ks, second in the major leagues, and 16 quality starts, tied for second in the major leagues. So Blue Jays, AL East, best division in baseball, need some studs to separate them from the pack. Gausman's one of their guys that comes out every 5 days, and they know they're going to be in a chance to win the ball game. So those are my three AL Cy Young leaders. Some candidates I got for you, some dark horse guys that could possibly win the award. Shohei Ohtani, like I said, probably going to win MVP. I don't see him winning both awards, but again, just because he's not going to win both doesn't mean he might not deserve to. So crazy that he's even in conversation for both. Shane McClanahan for the, my goodness, I'm blanking. Tampa Bay Rays, sorry. Got down with his injury, done for the year probably. So obviously he's not going to be able to pitch. He's going to fall off the face of this Cy Young ladder, but he was my second guy up until his injury. He was right behind Garrett all year long. So sad to see him go down, but got to mention his name. Luis Castillo for the Seattle Mariners, having another great season for them. And Nathan Eovaldi for the Texas Rangers, having a great season after leaving Boston. Just another guy who has left this team and gone on to do great things. So hopefully it can't be us. But anyway, jumping over to the National League, the Cy Youngs here. We got Spencer Strider of the Atlanta Braves. He's going to be my leader. I know. He has a high ERA, 3.94. That's not good. He's 12-4. He's leading the league in strikeouts by a mile at 211. 13 quality starts. Sure, the ERA isn't there. Sure, his team has saved him a couple times with that ERA because he's 12-4. He still won a lot of games. Guy's having a great season. Can't fault him for that. The ERA could be better, but he's definitely one of, if not the NL Cy Young leaders. My second guy who was kind of quiet to start the year, but is heating up his last few starts. Corbin Burnes of the Milwaukee Brewers, sitting at 9-6, 3.42 ERA with 141 strikeouts. He is also sitting at 17 quality starts. I apologize. It was Garrett Cole, Logan Webb, and Corbin Burnes, three guys sitting at 17 quality starts. So Corbin's putting together another masterful season. He's a top pitcher every year, the last few years. He's got a turbo sinker. He's got a little bit of cut on his fastball. He just beats guys with his stuff. So the last guy I got, Blake Snell for the San Diego Padres. Not the best record at 8-8. It was worse. He's been winning more games as of recently. He does have the best ERA in baseball at 2.61. He's fifth in the league in Ks at 164 strikeouts. But the only thing that's hurting him, 11 quality starts. He needs to go into games further. He needs to work deeper into games, especially as we get to the postseason. They're going to need that if they can make the postseason. Blake Snell, another great guy, another great season. Some underdogs. I got some late dark horses in the NL. I got Zach Gallen of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Logan Webb of the San Francisco Giants, and third-year guy Justin Steele, Chicago Cubs, turning it up. Just absolutely coming out of nowhere. Was pretty solid last year. This year, he's put his foot down, third-year jump, and he's killing it in Chicago. So that's what I got for you guys. Those were my wild card races, AL and NL MVP favorites, Cy Young favorites. A little second half roundup as the season is coming to a close. been an exciting season. Excited for playoffs. There's going to be a lot of interesting matchups, some storylines building as the year closes. So it's going to be an exciting end to the MLB. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me through my first solo video. I got one more thing for y'all. We know what it is. Song of the pod. I'm going to go with my song by Labi Sifre. I don't know how to say his name, but I Wonder sample from Kanye West. I Wonder wouldn't exist without this song. And it's a beautiful song. It's a chill song to end the week off. But go have a great weekend, y'all. Thank you again for listening. We appreciate the support, Zay and I'm speaking for Zay as he's not here, but we appreciate all the support that you guys show us. And we will see you next time. Later, everybody.